You either shave or you don't. And if you don't, you've probably never had to explain why. It's just a choice, a preference. If you do shave, you probably do it without thinking. A Tuesday morning, 3 minutes, done. You have never once considered that shaving might be a military tactic, that a clean face might be a survival adaptation, that the reason a beard is considered unprofessional in certain contexts is because one general 2,300 years ago told his soldiers their beards were trying to get them killed. And he was right. Shaving feels like the most trivial personal choice imaginable. It turns out it's one of the most socially loaded acts in human history. And it started not with vanity, not with hygiene, but with someone trying to not get killed by their own face. Humans have been removing facial hair for a very long time. Archaeological evidence of sharpened obsidian blades, clamshells, and carefully shaped flint used as razors appears as far back as 30,000 years ago. Cave art from the Upper Paleolithic period includes smooth-faced men. This was not accidental. Hair removal in the ancient world was deliberate, effortful, and clearly valued. The tools required for shaving were among the most carefully crafted small implements in any prehistoric kit. But here's the question nobody asks. Why? Growing a beard requires no effort. Removing it requires tools, time, and in the ancient world, a real risk of cutting yourself on a piece of sharpened flint. The default human state is bearded. Someone had to decide the effort was worth it, which means something was driving that decision. Something strong enough to make people reach for a sharp rock and scrape it across their face, every few days, forever. And the answer is not what you expect. It is not hygiene. Ancient humans understood very little about germ theory. It is not aesthetics. Beauty standards varied wildly across cultures. The first and most powerful driver of shaving in human history was something far more immediate. Something that made a beard a liability rather than an asset. Something that, on the right kind of battlefield, could get you killed. Shaving appears in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient China, independently, repeatedly, across cultures that never spoke to each other. Something was driving this. The same something across all of them. And it wasn't vanity. In close quarters ancient combat, the kind fought with short swords, daggers, and bare hands, a beard was a genuine tactical liability. An opponent could grab a beard and use it to control your head, expose your throat, end the fight. Ancient military writers documented beard grabbing as a combat technique. Plutarch describes specific instances of it in his accounts of ancient battles. The tactical reasoning was simple and direct. The beard created a grip point that didn't exist on a smooth face. For soldiers whose lives depended on giving their opponent no advantage, this was not an aesthetic question. It was a survival calculation. Picture a soldier in close combat 500 BCE. Everything is noise and pressure and the specific terror of someone trying to kill you at arm's length. Your opponent's hand closes on your beard. Not your collar, not your armor strap. Your beard. Your head snaps sideways. Your throat is exposed. The fight is over in the next 2 seconds. The beard didn't make you weaker. It gave your opponent something to hold that you couldn't take away. A handle, built into your own face. The first men who shaved weren't worried about looking good. They were worried about giving someone a way to kill them. 331 BCE. Alexander the Great is preparing to face the Persian army at Arbela. The order comes down through the ranks. Shave. Not as a ceremony, not as a ritual, as a tactical preparation, the same as oiling your sandals or tightening your shield strap. Alexander himself was clean-shaven, unusual for a Macedonian king of his era. The reasoning recorded by ancient historians was precise. Persian soldiers were trained to grab beards in close combat. Alexander's order removed that tactical vulnerability across his entire army simultaneously. By the time the battle begins, every man in Alexander's army has removed the handle from his own face. the Macedonians win. And for the next several centuries, across every territory Alexander conquered and every culture his empire influenced, a clean-shaven face carries a specific meaning. This is what the people who won look like. Alexander shaved his army to win a battle. He accidentally shaved Western civilization for the next 2,000 years. The Roman Empire adopted and formalized the clean-shaven standard. Roman men shaved regularly. Roman citizens who let their beards grow were associated with mourning, philosophical eccentricity, or deliberate rejection of Roman norms. But more than that, Rome used the beard as a visual marker of the other, the Germanic tribes, the Gauls, the Celts, the peoples Rome classified as uncivilized. In Roman art, on Roman monuments, in Roman literature, they are consistently shown as bearded. Look at Trajan's Column, the great carved monument in Rome documenting the Dacian Wars. Roman soldiers, smooth-faced. The enemy, bearded, carved into stone, visible for 2,000 years. The visual association became so powerful that the Latin word for these peoples, barbarian, and the Latin word for beard, barba, became fused in the cultural imagination, even though the words have different origins. What mattered was the image Rome was building. We are clean-shaven. They are bearded. We are inside. They are outside. You can tell the difference by looking at someone's face. Rome didn't make shaving fashionable. Rome made it the price of admission to being considered civilized by the most powerful empire on Earth. In the ancient world, shaving was not accessible to everyone. A quality bronze or iron razor was expensive, equivalent to a skilled worker's daily wage in many periods. The time required for a careful shave was significant. Doing it yourself without a mirror risked serious injury. Wealthy Romans visited the tonsor, the barber, as a regular social ritual. Barbershops were places of elite social gathering, the equivalent of a club. Poor men, slaves, and agricultural laborers grew beards not as a style choice, but because they lacked access to the tools, time, or trained assistants needed to shave safely. This created an unintentional but powerful signal. A smooth face was expensive to maintain. A smooth face was, therefore, a visible demonstration of leisure, wealth, and access. Luxury written on skin. Two men in Rome, 50 BCE. One visits the tonsor every 3 days. His face is smooth, maintained by a trained professional, using a quality iron blade in a warm shop where men of his class gather to talk. The other grows his beard because a good razor costs more than he earns in a week. They pass each other on the street. One face says, "I have resources, time, and access." The other face says, "I do not." The beard is not a choice. It is an economic fact, visible to everyone, immediately readable. A smooth face wasn't a beauty standard. It was a receipt, proof that you could afford to maintain it. Here's the part that makes everything you just heard land in the present tense. Across 2,300 years, shaving accumulated this cultural weight, military tactic, civilization marker, class signal. But it was still not universal for most men. Most men, throughout history, wore beards. That changed in a single decade, and the reason has nothing to do with aesthetics. King Camp Gillette patented the safety razor in 1901. It made shaving dramatically easier and safer for the average person. Sales grew, slowly. Then the United States entered World War I. The US Army faced a specific technical problem. Gas masks could not seal properly over beards. A beard compromised the seal. A compromised seal in a gas attack meant death. The solution was a military order. All enlisted men were required to shave. To enforce compliance, the Army contracted with Gillette and issued approximately 3.5 million safety razors directly to soldiers as standard equipment. Men who had never shaved regularly in their lives learned to shave daily because their gas mask would not work otherwise. They came home from the war with the habit already installed. Their sons learned it from them, their grandsons from them. The modern male grooming industry, worth over $25 billion annually, was not built on vanity. It was built on a gas mask requirement from 1917. The daily shaving habit that feels most ancient, most natural, most obviously just how things are, is about 100 years old. It just inherited 2,300 years of cultural meaning that made it feel inevitable. You're back at that mirror, same razor, same 3 minutes, same Tuesday morning. But now you know what's in it. There's a soldier at Arbella in there, following an order that removed the grip point from his own face. There's a Roman citizen in there whose smooth face told everyone on the street exactly who he was. There's a man who couldn't afford a razor in there, and the economic fact that his beard announced. And there's a soldier in 1917 in there, shaving because his gas mask wouldn't seal otherwise, learning a daily habit he'd passed to his children without ever knowing where it came from. All of that compressed into 3 minutes before coffee. The choice to shave or not shave is, for the first time, actually visible as a choice. And the reasons that feel most natural, professionalism, appearance, just what you do, are the furthest from the original reasons. The original reason was a handle on your face that an enemy could grab. Every time you shave, you are performing a ritual that began as a military tactic, became a symbol of civilization, and eventually became so embedded in culture that we forgot it was ever a choice. Alexander the Great made it a weapon. You made it a Tuesday morning.